know what's wrong. Thank you. So anyway, they'll miss the intro, but so yeah, and a lot of times it does take the depth of insight that that requires going into sacred space. And again, I feel like during this spiritual quarantine time, I'm really doing some deep healing work with all this going on. I'm really working through some deep stuff. And it's interesting because on all levels, I feel like I'm stronger and healing. I have this issue with my left foot. I went to a Rolfer in town several years ago. He's working on my foot. He goes, "So how's your relationship with your mother?" He asked me that, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing that you're asking me this. And he said he has noticed this pattern with women with left foot issues, that they have not been well mothered. And, the left side of our body is our feminine side. It's our connection to the feminine. And so if you haven't been fully supported and bonded and loved by your mother, you're literally like not grounded and rooted and supported in that feminine. And so my healing, and I asked him, I said, well, but how do I heal this? And he said, you have to mother yourself. So here he is working on my fascia tissue, right? But he's also, and he actually happens to be a psychotherapist. And he saw the whole picture, and he said, you have to mother yourself. And that really got me seriously on my path of developing a relationship with the Divine Mother that was palpable and tangible, where I could really receive her support. And that is the foundation for my own healing. And if you'll notice, that's kind of what I bring often in here. I notice how I always have you drop down and feel the support of the Divine Mother, because that's what's helped me. And so this is kind of a good example of how when you heal yourself, you can help heal others, because oftentimes these issues are, we're all human and we all have really similar things sometimes. So that's kind of my personal, one of my personal stories. I've had a lot of woundedness, like probably most of us have. Okay, so I'm going to show you my painting here. Let me just see if this is okay. Okay, so I did this last week. I don't remember exactly how I started. Okay, so I'm drawing out this wound shape, kind of like a jagged scar, like a wound, like an opening. And, the other thing about healing is the crack is where the light comes through, right? So what happens over and over and over is that your wound becomes your strength, because you heal yourself in that, you become a master. You become empowered by being your own medicine woman. I'm painting around the wound, and I don't know, I think I just chose red as maybe the color of blood, but I'm going to just paint around the wound. And I'm mixing, I just had these watercolors on my palette. I'm just kind of using what's there. And feel free to use whatever colors resonate with you. You might have different choices. I did red, gold, and green, which are the colors of Africa. Red is for the blood, green is for the land, for the earth, and gold is for the sunshine or the light. So that's why I chose these colors. But do whatever colors. You know, a lot of people, blue is actually the color of the healer. And you may want to do blue on yours instead. It's you'll notice that blue is oftentimes used in healing settings because it is the color of the healer. I flip-flopped my my background so that I put the red on the top on the left, and then I did it on the bottom on the right. And I'm using a really big brush. I'm using a very fat brush, and I'm gonna get some green mixed up. And I'm just using what I have in my palette. I've got some, I think it's cadmium turquoise, and I'm getting a little blue over here. I've got 3 palettes. And you can see on my palettes, I try to separate my warm colors from my cool colors so they don't get muddy. Getting some yellow now. And look how I'm mixing and mixing and mixing to get enough pigment. I really have to dissolve that dried up paint to get enough pigment in there because I'm going to be covering a pretty large area.
Carissa, it's Catherine. On your palettes, I always clean mine off. So even if I'm using the liquid watercolors, I can just dry them and re-wet them later.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of a dirty palette, especially if you're working, you know, with landscapes or earthy tones, because they're already kind of muted. I dropped some green into my wound there. And again, I'm just going to paint the green. You can see how as I go, I'm grabbing more color because I want to get enough pigment on there. I'm just moving my clip out of the way to get that. I'm going to scoot this kind of along. And then painting that side. And you know, I wasn't too concerned, like it kind of bled over here, that was still wet, but I'm not too concerned about that. So painted all that green. And then for the wound, I did the gold of the sun, of the light coming through the crack. And I had some metallic gold. And then I also mixed in a little bit of the gamboge, which is, and look how I'm having to work this. Work it, work it, work it. And then I'm getting some gamboge. You know, you have to work it, work it, work it with your brush to get enough pigment in there. So I got my gold and painted in. And again, you know, some of the areas are still wet, but it's okay. So pretty simple. So there's the background painting. And then this is my spread. And I'll read you my poem. I am a healer, grounded in love, entering the wound of darkness, with imaginary visions of light, beauty, joy. I am a medicine woman, tapping into plants, herbs, minerals of the natural world, spreading the healing to those I contact, as a honeybee pollinating sweetness across the face of the earth.
Bees would love that. Pollinating sweetness.
Yeah, the honeybees up here. So I've got the honeybees, the hummingbird, which is joy, the foxglove. This is actually a medicinal herb for heart issues. And then the pomegranate, this, and you'll notice sometimes like this pomegranate symbolism has come up in a number of my pages this session. It was on the magician. It was seems like it was on some of my other, maybe from previous sessions. Anyway, and then the green tea and the echinacea is an herb for healing. And, food, like food is definitely medicine. And then the rose quartz is used also for heart. So I didn't realize this. I have 2 heart medicines kind of framing my page. And then this woman, she's meditating. She's in this like magical forest with a unicorn and the fairy and the butterfly and the bunnies. And, she's in her sacred space. Okay.
I have another question. I'm sorry. I'm like a question girl. Is one side the healer and one side the medicine woman, or you just put them all together?
No, I kind of combined it into one on mine, but do it however you'd like. If it makes sense to you to divide them two, but I think, I wasn't thinking about it, but in a way I'm doing that whole thing where they're not separated, because really the healer is the medicine woman. The medicine woman is the healer. It's like it was like me going for the Rolfing and him asking me about my mother, or it's when you go to get a massage and you have a lot of anxiety and they'll put lavender oil in your massage oil. You know what I mean? It's like you do have to treat the physical body and the mind body and the emotional body and the spiritual body. So, yeah.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Any techniques about when you put a picture that goes over both pages and then you close the book and the picture sometimes gets impacted?
You can put wax paper in between, will help them from sticking together. Are they sticking together?
I meant more that when you put one image down, and it doesn't, there's, because of the seam in the middle, it doesn't sometimes quite fit, or it folds and you get a crease down the middle.
Yeah, what I do when I'm going across the page like that, I kind of press it into the book. Do you have a spiral on yours, or is it one?
Spiral.
Oh, yeah, with the spiral. Okay, with the spiral, if I'm not cutting it, if I'm going to loop it around, I leave enough, give in the paper so that it can wrap over the spiral. I just kind of let it rest over the spiral.
I also had a lot of good luck with the last time I did that. I mounted my my picture onto a little piece of cardboard, like came in a calendar to hold it stiff, and not thick cardboard, but on the thin side. So I mounted my rose onto the cardboard and then glued it to one side of the page. And yes, it's folded, but it's holding up a lot better with the cardboard backing as compared to the other times when I just had a a page from a magazine. That didn't hold up at all, but mounting it on the cardboard really made a big difference. And only mount it on one side, let the other side have the give.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Something I did, I don't know if it'll help you, but what I did is I cut my image in half because I have the spiral too. So this is the whole image. I don't know if you can see it. And what I just did is I cut the image and then I glued one side on each side. So you really, your eye just lets you travel over the page. It doesn't notice that it's cut. Good. Yeah, all these technical details for art journaling. Okay, shall we go into, what's that?
Could Wendy explain that one more time, what you did?
Sorry about that. What I did is, see how this whole image is all here. It's like a nest with my birds. So what I did is I cut the image in half. So here's the spiral, but what happens is you see, when you look at it, it looks like it's all together. Like I did it here with these books. I'll show you this. Here are these books. So I did the same thing. I cut my books in half. So there's image here and here, but your eyes just travel over it. It doesn't notice this because you're just looking at the picture. Yeah, Right? you just bring it as close up to the edge of the paper as you can. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, I'm just kind of taking in everybody who's here so I can do attendance. And why don't we go into our meditation? I'm going to mute everybody again. And we'll drop in and connect with our healer medicine woman. So go ahead and make yourselves as comfortable as possible so you can get really relaxed. If you want to lie down somewhere, you can. Try and get comfortable today. Okay. Can you hear me okay? Okay. You know, I'm sorry. I'm going to go pee really quick. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Is someone blowing the didgeridoo?
What is that? The didgeridoo?
I
What?
don't know. That's a weird sound. It's almost like a man's voice in a tube or something.
Where they belong. Just kidding.
Maybe it's the rolfer, our inner rolfer.
Right.
It sounds like a didgeridoo to me too. It's got a
Yeah.
twangy
Or are you hearing the noise?
quality.
Are you hearing the noise in my background?
Oh, is that you?
It's something outside. I don't know what they're doing. It's on the cliffside over at a neighbor's. It's some kind of machinery, and I'll close the door all the way.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it sounded like a juice harp or a didgeridoo.
What is a didgeridoo?
It's a wind instrument used by the Aborigines of Australia.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that definitely sounds
part
like
of the indigenous Australian culture.
Okay, I'm going to mute again, and let's start our meditation. So go ahead and get yourself super comfortable. And sometimes I sit cross-legged, but today I'm being called to really place my feet solidly on the ground. With an upright spine, feel yourself in alignment. And take some deep breaths into your lower belly. And do a brief scan of your body, relaxing any tense muscles. And allow your thinking mind to soften and drop down. Drop down, 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 down. Let's drop our mental mind all the way down to our feet. So your mind is in your feet. And feel that connection to the earth. And allow the roots in your feet to drop down into the earth. Down, down, down. And as you do this, just allow all your tension, any anxiety or any worries or concerns, just to completely drain down out of your feet and nourish the earth. Feel yourself open and soften and become more spacious, more diffuse as the solidity and density of your physical body just softens and relaxes. And it's like the particles of the air can merge into your physical body. And you merge into the particles of the air, expanding and becoming more broad, more wide, more open, so that you can perceive and receive from this really wide, open, broad place. And allow the light from above permeate down through your crown into your body, lighting it up. So you are a glowing body of light, part of the universal light. Now, tune in to some kind of an ailment or issue that you may have, and it may be on a physical level or a mental level or a heart emotional level, or perhaps a spiritual level, a disconnect. Just pick one ailment or one wound. It can be big or small. Just choose one that you'd like to work with today. And try to locate it someplace inside your body, even if it's not apparently a physical level. Try to determine where it's held in your body. And it may be a physical thing. It may be arthritis in your hand or sciatica in your glute. Just find whatever it is and enter in to that area. Bring all your awareness into it and enter it. And just sit with it and receive it. Allow it to be. You're not trying to change it. You're just allowing it to be held by your awareness. Now I'd like you to ask this ailment, this wound, what is your message to me? What would you like from me? And listen for any answers. They could be really practical ones, like you need to drink more water, or it could be a relational one, I want you to call your brother, or it could be, you know, you need to change your thoughts about your position on something. It could be, it's like, I want you to meditate. It could be any number of things. So just try to listen to what the ailment or what the wound wants from you, because it's calling out for some kind of attention. And once you receive any kind of message or guidance, you might want to even go a little further with this and see that in this place of apparent harm, there might be some kind of a strength or a gift here for you to receive. So just open up to that idea and allow anything that comes up that might be offered to you as a strength or a gift from this harm or this wound or this ailment that may serve you going forward. And receive that gift. Okay, and then finally, you may want to notice how this process of just holding a wounded area, holding a hurtful place, can actually bring healing, and that you may want to try this out with the people in your life. Sometimes all it takes is just holding space for somebody in their woundedness for the healing to occur, because really we're all self-healing creatures, and the healer is one who supports and fosters the natural healing abilities of others. So look for ways that you can bring this to those people in your life who are close to you. And we thank our wounds for the lessons and the learnings and the wisdom and the strength and the gifts that they bring to us. And we'll now come back to our circle. Okay, how's everyone doing? Okay. I don't know if that was the best meditation for the healer, but that's just how I just think if you can just be with it and hold space and listen, I really feel like that's how I've done most of my healing.
I know I try to push it away, but you're saying sometimes it's better not to.
Yeah, if you go into it, if instead, yeah, that's a really good point, Joyce. The more we resist, the more it persists, you know? And so if you welcome it and hold it, and actually, if you go into the pain instead of resist it, it usually transforms. The sensation can really transform and actually dissipate and go away. So as a follow-up to my foot issue, I was so debilitated back then. I went to a podiatrist and I got too many. He gave me 7 courses of cortisone shots, which caused permanent tissue loss in the padding of my foot. And my foot, like, I lost the strength. Like, my second toe is really tiny. It's like I lost my second toe. And I could hardly walk at a certain point. And now I am jogging. I jog, I'm jogging like, it's funny because I've gained weight, but I feel strong. I'm jogging about like maybe 5 days a week. I jog 2 miles down and then I power walk home. And my foot is stronger than ever. Like Casey was saying to me this morning, I can't believe you're running. Like your foot's okay. But my foot has strengthened, even though it's worse off now than it was because of the damage. It's like I have such a strong, powerful connection to the Divine Mother. It's like I healed that wound. And even though on a physical, anatomical level, my foot is damaged, it is strong enough that I don't have any more debilitation. I'm running, I can dance, I can do anything, you know? So, and it was really just being with that, just really being with it.
What was wrong with your foot? Was it plantar fasciitis?
I've had that, and I had a Morton's neuroma, and I have arthritis.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, it's just kind of a mess, but it's okay. It's like, it's not a mess anymore because energetically it's got a good foundation. And you know, our feet is our foundation, right? So it's everything starts from there. It's really important to have that solid foundation. And if anybody hasn't read Anatomy of a Spirit by Carolyn Myss, I'll write it in here. This book changed my life. I read this about 25 years ago. Anatomy. This is a really good book, and she goes into the chakras. She goes into the physical, energetic, and mental, emotional aspects of healing. And I just think this is such a great book.
What is her name, Chris?
I typed it into the chat box.
Oh, okay.
And Melanie is saying it's a great audio book, so that's nice.
Chris, Chris, I have a question. In your foot situation, so did the problem with your mom ever get healed, or is that still like the same? There wasn't any change there, but yet your foot got healed.
Yeah, the only change in our relationship is that I totally let go of any expectations of her, and I just totally accept her for who she is, and I don't look for any support or maternal, you know. Oh, I'm recording this again. Oh, wow, you guys